Hello, everybody. I, of course, have not ever farted in front of Rory. That is not a part of my life that is known to him. I'm not sharing that part of my life, although he thinks he wants me to. It's not going to happen. But lately, he's been really aggressive, grabbing my butt and saying, "Make this thing talk." And I do appreciate it, and it does make me laugh. But not to the point of farting. And there's nothing wrong with farting in front of your partner. It's perfectly fine if that's your choice. That is not my choice. For me, farting is for sisters. That's all. And then also we were, he knows me so well. He goes, "Well, what do you want to get for dinner?" I said, whatever you want, I'm easy. Then about 2 beats passed and we both burst into hysterics because I'm not easy. I'm an extremely picky eater. I have the palate of a 10-year-old. I want a sandwich or cereal, maybe a grilled peanut butter and jelly. But I'm not very good with world cuisines of the world. I'm not proud of it. It's just the truth. Let's take some calls.
You left me a message. Now I'm playing it for the world. Let's hear some voicemail.
Hi, Sarah. I'm calling in response to your 100 companies sort of talk during your last episode. And I want to talk about it. I find that statistic to be really misleading in the sense that it's sort of derived by, if one of them's ExxonMobil, then the gas that they produce that you buy in your car or the electricity a coal company uses that you use to power your home counts towards their emissions. So we act like, oh, it's just these companies and not us, but it's these companies operating under our consumer demands, right? We're demanding all this energy, all this power, and that is driving this climate change. So obviously just asking us to change our lifestyle isn't enough. People aren't just going to willingly do it. And there does need to be policy that, gets us out of our cars, into public transit, into homes that are more efficient through multi-tenant housing and things like that.
Keyword
but it's not
policy.
Just the companies in the abstract that are doing it. It's us. It's our individual demand. And it's not even just private corporations. It's Chinese state coal companies that are, again, driving the energy needs of Chinese citizens. It's a citizen demand, and we have these expectations for a lifestyle that are going to have to be adjusted in some ways to meet climate change. So, yeah, that's just my kind of issue with that statistic. I think it makes people think that they don't have to change their life when they do.
Right.
Yeah, love the show. Bye.
You're right. It's an excellent point. What you're saying is true. But regulations aren't supposed to heed to supply and demand, are they? The reason why regulations are not being implemented in some part is because these companies are paying politicians. They're, however loopholey, donations or what have you, etc. They're buying policy or lack of policy. Now that we're back in the Paris Accord, maybe it's a little easier to implement a more global kind of, we're all in this together, but without regulations, I don't know. I agree. We still do have to do stuff. And, like in LA, I know in California, there are incentives to choose a hybrid car or an electric car. So that's something, I drive a Prius. But I drive a Prius. I do drive in California. I don't use public transit. You make a great point. You do. But it's not the only point, which was your point, that I made a good point, and it's not the only point. So well done. Thank you. What else?
Hi, Sarah. I had a question about sexual harassment in the workplace. I just recently went back to work after not working during the pandemic. And before the pandemic, I was touched in an inappropriate way by one of the cooks. It was swept under the rug, and I never brought it up again until today, when I saw our new dishwasher girl was being touched the same way that I got touched. And I approached her and I asked her, were you uncomfortable with that? And she said yes. I said, well, the same thing happened to me, so let's go to the manager and the boss and see what we can do. The manager and the boss couldn't fire him. They said, oh, well, we can't do that because legally we need you to fill out paperwork. And so I kind of took the matter into my own hands, and I grabbed my pepper spray and I approached him and I said, if you touch me or any of the other girls again, I'll spray this whole thing in your eyeballs. And he acted like he never touched her or me. What? Do you think I went too far? Or do you think, I don't know. What do you think I should do? I really want to stay at my job, but not if he's there. Thanks, Sarah. This is Missy from Southern California.
Hi, Missy. I am confused. Why didn't you fill out the paperwork? This is unclear. That said, when it comes down to it, I am down with pepper spray. I keep mace on me in my backpack at all times, which is kind of hilarious because I don't know what situation I can be like, wait, hold on 1 second. It's in one of these compartments. You stay right there. It's in one of these zippered pouches. Though if I am on the street, if I'm like walking in the street at night and I don't feel safe, I will hold it in my hand with my thumb on the safety, and I feel so free. I feel so safe. I think like, is this what it's like to be a man all the time, unafraid? The whole thing of him being like, what? Huh? Is so frustrating. It's, that's the whole thing of the he said, she said thing, is that most often the he said will be like, huh? I don't know what you're talking about. Oh my, so the burden of proof has to be on you, in which case is like, you have to catch him on video, which should not be your burden, but all I can really think, and this is not exciting advice, fill out the paperwork. You both have time to fill out the paperwork, and then it's two women leaving a paper trail of what this person did. You want a paper trail for this kind of stuff. I know this is anticlimactic, but prudent advice. Fill the paperwork out. What are you I'm flummoxed at why that was the place that stopped you. Otherwise he's just going to be like, this bitch maced me for no reason. That just becomes more he said, she said stuff. Fill out the paperwork and have the other woman do it too. Restaurants really are the worst. The first penis I ever saw, I was a waitress at a Mexican restaurant, and I was 18, and one of the owners, I know I've told this story, one of the owners called me into his office and was like, you like working here? And I'm like, yeah, it's fun. And he's like, yeah, everybody being nice and just asking me these like innocuous questions, and I couldn't figure out why. And then I look down and he's leaning back at his desk, fully jerking off his naked penis. And I remember I got choked up, and I just was like, I have to clean the popcorn machine. And it's just maddening because they know who to do it to. They know to do it to 18-year-old me, not now me. I wish he did it to my now me. I would be like, oh my God, you're not going to believe what Ronnie just did. He took out his penis. It was like this shriveled, horrifying penis in front of me. Or maybe I would report it to proper channels and fill out paperwork. But I'd probably just crush him emotionally. Maybe not my best self, but they know to do it to the me's at 18 who are not equipped, who blame themselves. The restaurant business is disgusting for some reason. So cokey, very Coke fueled. I don't know why. I guess because it's a late night thing. I have no idea. But make the time to fill out the paperwork. You want a paper trail. Do it all by the book. That's all I can say.
Here's some ads.
Ooh, Lord Jones. The market is saturated with CBD products, so it's important to find products that you know are good quality and can be trusted. For me, that is Lord Jones. Lord Jones was one of the first premium CBD brands on the market and in stores, and their longtime commitment to quality has scored them a long list of celebrity fans. Lord Jones uses only the finest hemp-derived CBD cultivated right here in the USA. All products are lab tested to ensure purity and consistency. I use the Lord Jones bath salt, and I use their moisturizer, their body lotion. It feels like heaven. If you'd like to experience what everyone's talking about, go to lordjones.com/Sarah to get 25% off your first order. That's lordjones.com/Sarah for 25% off your first order. lordjones.com/Sarah. Article. I recently moved into a new house, and one of my favorite pieces of furniture is this gorgeous bed by Article. It's this mid-century bed, and it's got it's a bed frame, and it has the side tables are attached, and it's stunning. Moving or not, if your home needs a refresh, you've got to check out Article. After this year, the two rooms that likely need it the most are the bedroom and the home office. And that's great news because Article's perennial favorite, Sven collection, is expanding to the bedroom with a new Sven bed, a slate of sleek modern desks with ingenious extra storage options like the Fantal, and so much more. This isn't just refreshing, it's downright exhilarating. Article is inspired by a variety of modern design aesthetics like mid-century, Scandinavian, industrial, and bohemian. My favorites, really. You won't believe their fair prices. You can save over 30% over traditional retail prices. Article is able to keep their prices low by cutting out the middleman and selling directly to you. No showrooms, no salespeople, no retail markups. That's the best part about it. Plus, middleman, is that Jewish? Fast, affordable shipping is available across the USA and Canada and is free on orders over $999. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Go to article.com/Sarah and the discount will be automatically applied at checkout. That's article.com/Sarah to get $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more.
And we're back.
Hey, Sarah. I don't have any question. I just was going to give my thanks and my praise. My son is nonverbal autistic, and he absolutely loves Wreck-It Ralph. And over quarantine, we watched it probably 300 times. And every time it just brought him so much joy. And, you know, it's just like those little bits of normalcy in a time where it's just so chaotic and so scary. It just really means a lot to us. So I just want to say thank you for bringing light and love into our house with your talents of voice acting. And yeah, it just really meant a lot. My son was actually in a video on Twitter the other day that you were tagged in. He was actually listening to the Wreck-It Ralph soundtrack in the car and headbanging to it. Anyway, I just wanted to say that our family loves you, and we're just really thankful for what you do. Hope you have a beautiful week. So much love from our family.
I saw that video. It was amazing. You were in the car. That's so cool. I'm so happy that something I was a part of was able to reach your son, because I know that autism is a mystery and a puzzle. That makes me so proud. And Yeah, I remember you were asking for suggestions of other music you might like, and somebody else suggested Bohemian Rhapsody, and I was like, I second that because I think he would love it. And he seemed to really love like also kind of big band music because that's really what the music from that song from Wreck-It Ralph is like, just big orchestra sound. That was so joyful and so cool. It's nice to hear from you. Thanks for calling. All right, what else?
Hey, Sarah, this is Luis. Sending this voicemail from Brazil. And I love the podcast, so thank you so much for doing it. It's amazing. The reason I'm calling is I recently broke up with my ex, and we were together for 3 years, and I thought he's 41, I'm 32, and I thought we had this very mature adult relationship. But, for different reasons, it ended 3 weeks ago. And I found out that his computer was at my place recently, like a week ago. And I opened it and I went in and I saw a bunch of his conversations with his sister. And it was just an awful conversation about me. And they weren't even talking about the reasons why we broke up. He was just basically shit talking about me. And he said I was poor. He said I was ugly. And he said I wasn't even that hot to begin with. My question for you is, should I confront him? Like, a big part of me wants him to know that I know that he said all these things and that he's a fucking asshole. I don't know. What would you do?
This is a tough one because I don't know that I would open someone else's computer. I don't know that I would be in that situation. That's private, so not to put the blame on you. I'm just saying when you do that, you are looking for something terrible and something about yourself. And these things about you, whether they're about you or not, are private. So, I want to say it's kind of not your business. And I know that sounds so harsh, but now you've seen it and you can't unring that bell. I think when I say unring that bell so much that I think it warrants some kind of audio drop where like it's the sound of a bell but played backwards or something. That'd be fun. All right. Sorry. I'm just saying, look, this sucks and I'm sorry and it must be hurtful, to read something like that. But before deciding to confront him, I would ask yourself, have you ever confided in someone and made unsavory comments about another person? Someone even that you care about, someone that you're with, or a member of your family. Have you never done that? If your answer is, I have never done that, then you have officially won life. Or you're lying to me or yourself, But I suspect you have maybe played that very same role in someone else's story. I know that I have. And the difference is they did not read your private phone or computer. It's shitty that he said those things. And he sounds like a shitty person. It's shitty that he said those shitty things. And it's more a reflection of him than you, I'm sure. You knowing this is a reflection on you. Maybe it would give you satisfaction to tell him you saw it. Imagining you do it might be more satisfying than actually doing it, would be my guess. But I would say most of us humans, do confide in friends and family about personal relationships. And I can't imagine you haven't done the same. you may have confided in someone that may, if they heard it, hurt someone else. And the plan is they don't hear it or see it. So I don't want this to give you a complex about your looks. It's truly on him and his ego and his insecurities. You're beautiful and you deserve love. That I know.
Here's some ads.
Bright side, yes. The past year has taken an unprecedented toll on all parts of our lives. So if your mental health has suffered, you are not alone. And help is closer than you think with Brightside. Brightside offers help for the full spectrum of anxiety and depression conditions. So no matter what you're feeling, you will get a treatment plan tailored to your specific needs on your schedule. And you can get help right from your home. To me, someone who has and does suffer from anxiety and depression, dealing with it is the best thing I've ever done. Going to therapy, seeing a doctor, getting medication that helps me. All those things are things you can get through Brightside. Whether you choose therapy, medication, or both, all plans follow the highest clinical standards, are based on American Psychiatric Association guidelines, and 85% of Brightside members feel better within 12 weeks. And it's affordable. And that's what's so important, with a flat monthly fee, no hidden costs, you can get all the help that you need without worrying about a big bill. Plus, with Brightside's Better Care Guarantee, you can get a full refund within 30 days, no questions asked. Join thousands of Brightside members taking back their lives. Take your free mental health assessment and get up to $100 credit on your first month of treatment at brightside.com/Silverman. That's brightside.com/Silverman. brightside.com/Silverman. MeUndies. I can't help it. MeUndies. You know how people say imagine everyone in their underwear to make you feel more comfortable, as if imagining a room full of strangers down to their skivvies is what makes us comfy? No. MeUndies believes comfort does not start with imagining, but instead it starts with actual comfort. I've worn MeUndies. They're so soft. The underwear is so silky soft. It seems impossible that this is a breathable fabric, but it is. Your vagina can breathe and it's silky soft. MeUndies designs limited edition prints all the time, so you can express yourself every single day. Building your undie collection and picking out which lucky pair gets to meet your butt for the day has never been so fun. Choose prints with corgis, chicken nuggets, your zodiac sign, goofy puns, and more. MeUndies also releases collabs with pretty big names like the Rolling Stones, maybe you've heard of them, and Space Jam: A New Legacy, starring Sarah Silverman. All right, I added that. But you gotta grab them fast because once they're gone, they are gone for good. They're collector's items, baby. To get 15% off your first order, free shipping, and a 100% satisfaction guarantee, go to MeUndies.com/Sarah. That's MeUndies.com/Sarah. MeUndies also has their problem-free philosophy. If you're not satisfied with any product for any reason, they will refund or exchange it. No caveats, no questions. Remember, that's MeUndies.com/Sarah. And we're back.
Hi, Sarah. Over the pandemic, I dated somebody who I'm 99.999% certain drugged me in my own apartment. He claimed that it was me and that I just got too drunk, but I'm pretty certain that he put something in my drink because I couldn't remember a thing. Woke up in my bed puking. He was gone. My pants were on the floor. Like, nothing made any sense. And then he blamed me for it the next day. It was just, I had a hard time. I was so confused because I was like, immediately I was like, I think he drugged me. And why would someone who I've already slept with decide to do this? And so, I asked him about it and he told me it was all me, all my fault. And looking back on it after realizing and learning who he really was, I'm not seeing him anymore, obviously. I'm pretty certain that he did put something in my drink that night. I definitely didn't do that to myself because I've never done that to myself in the years that I've been drinking. I was 16. 28 now. So I guess I just want to put this out there, like, for women to just be careful. Like, even guys who maybe you just started seeing will still.
She got cut off. Wow. It's funny when you go into business, you get references. When you're hiring someone, you get references. When you start a new relationship, there are no references. I mean, for better or worse, there's social media, so you can kind of investigate and see who their friends are. They look like they've got a nice friends, nice family, But it is funny, because it's such an intimate. I remember Rory. He's like, "You Googled me?" I go, "Yes, of course I Googled you. I needed to check you out." I don't know. I think that seeing who people's friends are and stuff, that's very helpful. But my guess is that maybe you have looked into who he's dated in the past. And if you haven't, if there's a way you can figure out who he's dated in the past and reach out to them, that might be really key, because my guess is if he drugged you, he drugged them. Anyone who's hooked up with him or dated him in the past, I would try to reach out to them and just ask them. Because then you've got something and you can maybe stop him from doing it more. I think that seems like the smartest thing to do. Why would he do that? I don't know. People are weird. Maybe it's the limpness of your body, maybe it's the helplessness, who knows what deranged shit is going on. I don't know. But looking back, it seems like it maybe tracks with stuff that you subsequently found out about him. So yeah, go back and contact people he's dated. For sure. Yikes. All right, what else?
Hi, Sarah. This is Jess from Florida. And first of all, I wanted to say that your show that came out yesterday was phenomenal. Very thought-provoking stuff. The thing that stood out to me the most was what you said about loving yourself, and the man that called in and didn't understand. He didn't get it. Yeah. And it really resonated with me because, and I didn't realize it until I heard that, but it was striking a chord because I'm pretty sure my father is in that boat, and we have a pretty strained and weird relationship. And I think it stems from partially because he doesn't love himself, that he really, really struggles to love anybody else. And I know he really wants to. And I know you have a great relationship with your dad, which is really cool. And it's something that I've always kind of wished I had. And I know he wishes he had it with me as well. And we just can't seem to figure it out. Yeah, I guess also I just feel like a lot of men, I think more so than women, have this sort of misunderstanding or just inability to love themselves. I don't think it's unique to that one caller, even though I think it's the awareness of it that he had, that he was even able to admit he didn't get it and admit that his reasons for not understanding it. I think I know a lot of men in particular who would probably feel the same way, just haven't really thought of it like that. So I thought that was really cool. And I'm wondering, I guess, if you have any advice for how to approach that topic, knowing that I just have a really shaky relationship with my father, and you don't. So as someone who kind of grew up on the other side of that, I wonder if you have anything that you would recommend, knowing that we're just not very emotional, touchy-feely people, and maybe that's kind of the reason. So yeah, that's all. I love you so much. I love your show, and I love your brain. Take care.
I just heard her ways turning west on. Interesting point. And about men experiencing it more, I would say I know many women who do not accept themselves, who look in the mirror and are disgusted with what they see. And it's heartbreaking. But I do think what you're noticing in men is there is this compounded element to it where they are raised, especially men of a certain generation, like my father, your father, with real toxic masculinity, raised to be ashamed of having emotions, to be ashamed of having feelings, to feel that is not manly, to be emasculated by having feelings, which is absurd, but really, really common. It's how it's ingrained in their bones. When of course all those feelings are what make us human. It's all we're made of. So men and women both struggle with it. We have kind of different kinds of struggles with accepting ourselves, I think, would be my take on that. I'm really sorry about your relationship with your dad and feeling like you can't kind of break in there. I mean, maybe this is dumb, but maybe just ask him like, hey, can we make a time to talk some real shit? See how he responds. Maybe there's a beer involved or a puff of weed or nothing at all. I mean, maybe you might record him, either video or audio, which possibly might shut him down. I mean, my dad is odd, but years ago I put a camera on him and just pressed record, and for some reason it made him vomit out information about himself like a confessional. It was fascinating. But like most men of his generation, he suffers massively from being raised in and with toxic masculinity. But I don't know. There's no tricks to it. What if you make a date with him for lunch or to hang out and you just ask him if he would be willing to talk real deal emotional stuff with you for you? You're my dad. I want to know everything about you. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know about your family dynamic growing up. I do think that parents really are pretty tickled when their kids are interested in their lives and their home dynamic and their experience as children. And it's going to be so informative. And just expressing it might be really big for him. It seems obvious, but maybe it's not something you've really thought of doing. I don't know. My dad is... Look, I know what you see is this amazing relationship between my dad and I, and he's one of my best friends, but he's totally fucked up, and he's come through so much in his life, and he would tell anyone that they should be in therapy, and yet he has never gone to therapy. I think he's terrified of what he might find there. Who knows if he'd even be able to be like open or real. My dad is very I can't think of the word, but he, like if you ask him questions, half the time he just deflects with jokes, and it is, on one hand, can be charming, but is mostly really maddening. But there are ways that when I've been alone with him, we've gotten into I've found out really interesting things about his life that explain so much. There's a lot of shit there, So maybe, when it's just the two of you, he can really get real, especially if you're interested and you let him know that. But it's a lot, and you got to ask for it. Sometimes it's just about asking about his childhood. That you want to learn about your family tree and what those dynamics are, and what those relationships were like. Finding out about his childhood and his relationship with his parents, his grandparents, is going to give you a lot of information. It's going to give you a lot of answers, but you can ask anything. You're doing an interview. I remember my therapist telling me, like, when going home was really stressful to be around my various family members. And I remember he said, pretend you're an interviewer. You're writing a piece. You're an investigative reporter, and you're writing a piece on this family. Because it sounds silly, but it takes you out of it. And you're able to kind of observe with a little more empathy than when it's part of you that you see. It's interesting. I don't know. Maybe bribe him. You know, my dad will do pretty much almost anything if you give him a McDonald's chocolate shake. I don't know. What else?
Hello, Sarah. You are one of my all-time favorite comedians, and you've inspired me to do comedy as well, so thank you for that. I was listening to one of your more recent podcasts, and you asked if there's any way to curb the munchies, if any of us know, to let you know.
Yes.
And I do have a trick, and it has worked for me since high school. And it's every time you smoke a bowl or a joint, whatever it may be, drink a full bottle of water. It will fill you right up. You will be super hydrated and you won't be cotton-mouthed later. And if you smoke a lot, I mean, you're going to drink like a gallon of water a day and you're going to be super healthy. So that's my advice. Every time you smoke a joint, a bowl, anything, whatever your preference is, simply drink a full bottle of water per bowl or per joint. And you won't be as hungry and your skin will look great. Have a wonderful day. I love your podcast, and I hope to meet you one day when things are not a plague. All right, I'm going to stop. I love you. Bye.
That's a really good idea. I mean, I don't smoke that much. I don't smoke a large quantity of pot. I am a lightweight that smokes every night. I like to smoke. I like to have a puff before bed. On a weekend, if all my homework's done, I may have a puff in the day before a hike, before walking with Mary, which, I do enjoy that. But I'm like a 2-puff stoner, and so that would only be 1 bottle of water, but still a bottle of water. Chug water, yes. Water really is the answer to everything. Like, none of us drink enough water. Rory actually has an app that like tells him like drink more water. It sounds like overkill, and he doesn't always heed it. So heed it. I think I've said heed twice today, and that's probably 2 times out of the last maybe 1,000 days. Heed. All right, what else?
Hi, Sarah. This is Christina. I'm 40 years old, and I just wanted to respond to one of your callers who talked about really needing to find a relationship, almost like on a desperate level when she's 37 years old. And your response was, it's important to get to know yourself first and really enjoy spending time with yourself, be your own best friend. I disagree with that. I mean, I think to some level, absolutely you need to know your own emotions, be in a really solid place. But when I met my partner, I've been with him for 3.5 years. I was kind of in that desperate state of like dating, a few times a week and just trying to find the right person and just coming up against a wall so many times and just kind of being like, am I ever going to find someone? And then I did, just out of the blue. It just happened. And I wasn't in that great of a headspace at that time, but being in a relationship made me feel whole again and just like I was the best version of myself. I really was. I became kinder. I became more patient. It was just everything. All of my good qualities came out and some of my bad qualities just kind of faded a little bit. So I think my advice to your listener would be to just know that when it's right, you're going to know it's right. You'll feel it. It's going to happen. Just believe in yourself and, you'll get there. I love your podcast. Bye.
Well, that's really wonderful for you. And I hope if that caller is listening to you now, that she now knows to just believe in dreams. And it will happen. No, that's not nice. Listen, I hear you. There isn't just one way to do this or anything, and my advice was just that. It was just advice. I'm glad that I'm happy for your 3.5 year and continuing relationship. And I'm glad that he has made you whole. I prefer personally to at least attempt wholeness myself. I don't want to need someone to be whole personally. That's my preference. And I do not want to make my partner whole. I want him to come whole. And I realize I just said come whole. I'm not a relationship guru. I do not know shit. But your theory sounds a little bananas to me. It sounds like a Jennifer Goodwin from He's Just Not That Into You. A little hopeful, although she does find love. It seems a little bit thoughts and prayers-y to me than any effort or practice or reflection of living an examined life at all. That seems to me the better route or route. But good for you. I'm happy for you. Hey, you can search for yourself or you can search for a boyfriend, but one leaves you with a sense of self and one leaves you looking for a boyfriend. What else?
Hi, this is future New York Times bestselling author Aaron Jones.
Ooh.
And I was wondering, what exactly made you decide to do Star Trek Voyager? Were you a fan of the show? Were you a fan of the Star Trek franchise in general? Or was it just like a stepping stone towards your burgeoning acting career? I always wondered about that. You were great in the episodes, but I was just wondering if you took the job because you were a fan or because, it was offered. Anyway, love all your work. You're great. And have a great day.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Aaron Jones. I did not decide to be on Star Trek Voyager. I was a struggling actor comedian and I got an audition and I auditioned for it and I booked it. And I think I've told this story early in the podcast, but it was funny because I wasn't super familiar with Star Trek. I had watched a lot of Next Generation because my stepbrother was really into it. But the scripts come with like a glossary because, it's like a whole other language. There's a lot of whole other languages in it. Anyway, the story I think I've told before, but I was so excited about getting this part. It's like a 2-part Star Trek Voyager. And I I went to an acting coach. And he's like this really like hoity-toity acting coach, and he's reading the material, and finally it just goes, yeah, sometimes when you're running from lasers, you just have to pretend you're running from lasers. And I was so happy. It was so freeing, really, because you're like, right, it's acting is pretending. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's simple. It's just like, the greatest things to figure out are ultimately simple. Yeah, it's just you're pretending. You're pretending you're this person with this history and these details that you know, and you're in this situation. Go. All right, what else?
Hey, Sarah. My name's Brittany, and I just wanted to, first of all, let you know that I've re-recorded this 3 times because I'm so self-conscious of how many times you pick out the sound of people's spit in their mouth when they're speaking. So thanks for that. But I wanted to share my approach to dealing with Trumpies, to just use an umbrella term for anybody who's, racist, homophobic, sexist, xenophobic, whatever. my favorite thing to do is donate money in their name using their information to the organization that helps whatever marginalized community they're talking about. So they have their name listed on the website as having donated, and they receive a thank you email from the organization saying, you know, thank you so much for your generous donation to Black Lives Matter, whatever it is. And there's nothing they can do about it. And it's fucking awesome. And it makes you feel really good. And it makes them really mad and confused. And I think it's the right approach. So let me know if you use that at all. And you're welcome.
You're funny. That's funny. I mean, it certainly does not move forward progress in any way or change anyone's mind, but if it satisfies you and it gives money to a good organization, then yeah, go for it. I mean, when I used to be on the road, I would FedEx myself weed to various places on the road illegally. Am I going to get arrested? Maybe I'm lying, though. Maybe this is just a comedy routine. Anyway, I would FedEx myself weed from the road, and I would pay in cash and make the return address Governor Rick Perry, Austin, Texas. Yeah, it's little pleasures. My friend Dave Juskow years ago I remember one time I went to Europe and I needed weed, and he FedExed me weed from he had like an office job where he could FedEx stuff, and he would FedEx me weed and make the return address the Sklar brothers. I think he was mad at them like 20 years ago, which is ridiculous because we love them. Scarborough country, baby. Scarborough country. And with that, my friends, Dad, we are rounding down. This podcast is over, y'all. We are at the point where I say subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you like watching them with your eyeball holes, check us out on YouTube. And when you get there, press like or follow or subscribe or whatever the fuck that means because that keeps us on the air. And I'd appreciate it. I like doing this. And I really like you guys. And I learn something every week. All right, that's all. So long, y'all.
Hey, I wanna.
Hey!
Hi.
Hey, ya fucker!
Subscribe here so you don't miss an episode. And you can click here to watch the last episode if you missed it.